folks, welcome back. So after my last video, a few of you were asking if I could take you through the whole process from beginning to end of actually creating the resume, the cover letter, the back and forth process that I talked about with the AI, and I'd be happy to do it in a fairly straightforward and concise way. So I put together what I'm calling here all under learning and development. All of these three categories I realize now are under L&D, which is learning and development. Under that you have different subcategories within the L&D space, which would be content development, web conferencing, virtual event management, multimedia production. So it makes sense to kind of like layer it that way in a hierarchical sense. And these are basically areas of focus, AOFs, if you want to get fancy with it. These are my AOFs that I'm working on. So by doing this, now I know exactly who I'm applying to. My basic plan is to target these particular companies, and then after that, once I've exhausted that round, maybe I'll have found a job by then. If not, then I have a backup plan, which is agencies such as the eSkills of the world, who may have openings in these different areas. And to kind of like bridge it all together and marry the whole thing, I also made a section here for roles and positions by category. So these are the particular jobs that I'll be looking for within these companies and others that fall into the greater three pillars of what I'm good at, which is basically all it is. Now I want to take you through this step by step just so you understand how you can build this for yourself. This is not AI generated. I made all this by myself. So this is a comprehensive list of what experience I have. You don't have to do this many. You can have just 8 to 10 or not even 5. That would be fine. If you can convey the value and your skill set behind that with that many, works just fine. You don't have to have as many as I have here. But of course, the more the merrier. You can always funnel it down. So in terms of content development, LMS, and e-learning, these are the big ones as far as I've identified, the ones I've worked with the most. And here's the thing, and you have to consider this as well. If you're doing the 3 pillars thing, or even within your first pillar, you find ways of creating connections where they may not be obvious. Like you could apply for, say, a multimedia production job at Articulate, and the fact that you have these 3 things, these 3 different areas of focus, is really appealing to them because you understand their industry across the board. You're in the thick of it, and from different angles, different perspectives, right? Which makes you even more of a valuable asset. So just think about that, how these things synergize together, and how your version of content development, web conferencing, multimedia production could be whatever. It could be you're good with a chainsaw, you're not a bad carpenter, you're pretty good handyman, and you're good with numbers. That's a business right there. That's a forestry or landscaping business. So how do these things work together, right? Mine are very complementary, but you'd be surprised at how things that might not seem complementary can be structured that way on a good resume or a cover letter. So the reason I bring all this up is I want you to see what level of organization and dedication you have to bring to finding a job. My friend Marshall says all the time, you have to really make finding a job your full-time job. Finding the job is not really the goal. It's finding something more than a job, finding something fulfilling, finding some way of translating and communicating the passion in the work is more important than just a job. Sometimes, yes, you have to keep the lights on and put food on the table. I get that, but we want to find something more than just that. We want to land that gig that we thought previously was impossible or out of reach. We're bringing that, manifesting that, and pulling that into our reality. So Marshall's right. You have to put in that time and treat it like a full-time job in order to get that dream job that you want. Here's some other ideas too that I thought of. The first list with the different vendors, the LMS platforms, and the different conferencing platforms, you'd be on the vendor side building or supporting the platform. Which is, yeah, I'd love to do that. That's definitely where my strengths lie. The same titles also appear in organizations using those platforms. So corporate L&D departments, universities, I haven't even really tapped that market yet, training firms, agencies I mentioned earlier, production studios. And then for each pillar you can tailor your resume, LinkedIn headline, example, instructional designer specializing in LMS implementation. So back to what I was saying earlier, virtual event producer with multimedia expertise. That's, I think it was Claude or ChatGPT suggested that one, I forget. But that's brilliant. That's exactly what you have to do. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Finding ways to bridge all of these together and to create that synergy, and you're not just hiring one of these things from one of these categories. If you can somehow highlight the fact that you're getting this and this, or maybe two of these and one of these and four of these, or maybe one from each category, or hey, even if it's one from here and one from here, that's better than just hiring one from here. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to spend too much time on this because I know that the video was about something else, but I wanted to spend just enough time to show, like, if you just take that extra time to build in something like this, to build in your understanding, your goals, you're clarifying and crystallizing your intentions, and I think that can go a long way. So, all right, let's get to the meat of it. So last time we had created our cover letter. For anybody that didn't see last time, I suggest that you stop this video or pause it, open another tab on your browser, bring up the channel and watch the first video if you can, because this is going to inform exactly what we're about to do here. But for anybody that didn't catch that one for some reason, I'll just put them up side by side real quick so you can take a look and kind of get an idea of what we were doing. You can watch the last video if you want to know more about how we crafted this resume. But we're about to do the same thing here in a moment. I just wanted to show you the two documents that we're about to create. But this time, instead of LMS industry, and the one on the left, by the way, was a template. So that's why it's unfinished. The one we're about to create today is the MPS one, I believe. So same idea though, template, industry specific, tailored as close to the positions that I'll be applying for as possible without actually getting specific. And where I do get specific is in where the square brackets are. That's why I say it's a template, is because I have some very key spots that I can come in. And again, like we talked about last time, this is all about just checking out what has this company got going on. What are they focusing on? What kind of webinars do they have right now? Are they very active on social media? Find something, a couple of things, and connect those here to show that, first of all, you're human, and secondly, that you're actually interested in what they're doing and you've actually researched it, right? So let's go ahead and shut these down and bring up a new blank document. Now, I like to work with multiple monitors, but I'm not going to put both of them up on the screen because you're not going to be able to read one or the other. It's already difficult enough sometimes to read on the 4K monitor because they get kind of small even with the zoom. I'm just going to go back and forth if I have to, but we'll focus mainly on what we're developing here. So let me also bring up Claude. So I like to use Claude for my word processing because I find it does the best. I find the writing is better than ChatGPT. It doesn't use as many obvious things as an AI would, as an LLM might, to indicate that it's clearly AI. It can be trained. I want to say that I've trained it enough. Let me just take a quick look. Like, I have quite a few chats. Yeah, I've got lots of chats in here. So I'm pretty confident that I've trained it to kind of like speak and think like me to a certain degree. I don't know how much of a memory Claude has versus ChatGPT, but that to say, it has definitely gotten to a level where it accomplishes most of the time what I want it to do. For example, all right, ready to move on to the final category, MPS, which stands for Multimedia Production Services. I gave it my resume. I explained to it what I was trying to do. I copy and pasted maybe like 4 or 5 different job applications that I was applying to so that it stayed current with what I was doing. I shared results. I talked to it for a couple of days, and now it does pretty much exactly what I want and does the same consistency. That's what I want. These 3 folders that I'm working on, right, from the 3 different industries, areas of focus, I want them to be as uniform as possible so that I can easily bring changes to them. I can easily be confident in what I'm bringing to this company versus that company. Like, imagine if you're tailoring every resume and starting from scratch on every single application. That just seems daunting to me. That seems like a horrible enterprise. I don't even want to think about it. So this makes more sense to me. It's just a one and done. If I want to, I can still come in later on and tailor it to whatever. If I want to change a few keywords, or if I do need to restructure it, I'm not just starting from scratch every time, or I'm not having to remodel the whole thing. We should have some base that we can work from, right? That seems logical and sane. Let's go back to our friend Claude here, or Claude as I like to call him. All right, Claude. So Claude already, he did it in like 5 seconds. I wasn't even paying attention. There's a couple of little things that it stripped away as we were going. Like, for some reason it's not giving me links here anymore. I think at one point I asked it to just give me no formatting, and it took it literally. So I have to do a little bit of formatting, but it's already cut down so much on my time. I'll show you how I fix that, because it's going to be all a jumbled mess. I'll show you my process, because I think could be mistaken, but I think that's what you want to see the most. So let me bring my word processor up here, my Google Docs. Just paste it in, and we'll just take a quick scan and see. So first thing I'm going to do is bring up one of my other ones here, because I'm just going to copy the header in such a way, and then whoops, we're going to put that here. We'll paste it without formatting anything. For anybody that didn't know, you can Control C, Control V, that you know, I hope you know that. But if you want to paste without any formatting, like if you get into trouble sometimes, you might need to do this. It's Control Shift V. And Google Docs has probably told you 1,000 times when you try to do it like this, it'll tell you. It doesn't tell you this though. It tells you Control C, Control V, Control X, but it doesn't tell you about the Control Shift V. I had to figure that one out on my own, but handy little tip. But that way there, my links are preserved. The URL is still pointing to the right place. The line, I just had to copy and paste, and then I've got a divider line here if I need it, but I can delete it if I need more room. So got some options. Now I can just delete this. That looks good. And now I'm just going to start scanning and reading and making sure that it makes sense from a multimedia producer perspective, audio engineer, and content developer. Now, content developer, as I mentioned before, also relates back to the LMS industry, also relates to virtual event management, as well as MPS work relates to them, and you see how they're all connected. So this one is multimedia producer and audio engineer with 20 years plus of creating professional audio video content for e-learning, corporate communications, and digital media. I like that. That's well said. Probably better than I could say it myself. So, that's why we're doing this. Expert in full production lifecycle from concept through post-production, delivering 200 plus high-quality assets with exceptional attention to detail and client satisfaction. Now, why is it saying 200 plus? It got that from my resume, but it knows I've told it to put in real metrics. I want to see real stats in there to really catch the eye. These numbers are going to be, when a recruiter is scanning your resume, what they want to see. Now I'm going to do a little bit of formatting here. This is where your input is going to be necessary, and your eye for detail as well as your eye for design. How you fix that is by going like this and like so. Takes a little bit of finagling, but you'll get it. Alright, so that's looking good. Video production. Premiere, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve, Camtasia, Multimedia, Camera Editing, Color Grading, Motion Graphics. These are all standard things. I could even add to this, if we're going to say Camtasia, I'd be tempted to put in here like Descript, and I'd rather list a few more tools. maybe even Riverside to show we can do podcasts. And there's enough room for that, so why not? Adobe Audition, Audacity, professional voiceover narration, audio mixing and mastering, sound design, podcast production. I would add here, like we were talking about color grading in the video and motion graphics, the equivalent of that in audio would be like sound treatment. Sound treatment. Content development, Articulate Storyline Rise, Adobe Captivate, H5P, Interactive Media, again, just standard things here, animations, SCORM packaging. What I would add to this is AI integrations, and then maybe even automation. Integration and automation. Although automation is kind of its own thing, but we might want to add here consulting. I'd be consulting for anything, but I've certainly done a lot of it when it comes to content development, that's for sure. Now, creative skills, and I was just thinking here also, consulting could be more like coaching at times. Like, I've spent a lot of time with presenters and SMEs outside of working hours a lot of the time, because that's just when they have these panic moments the day before. But just getting them in a Zoom and first of all, getting the giggles out, so to speak, and calming the nerves, and just getting them back on track. And a lot of them, they were fine earlier on in the day, in the week leading up to the event, but you know, as it gets closer, the nerves start to build up, and then they question themselves. Last thing I want is for them to bail at the last minute because the nerves got to them, or they feel they've lost their confidence with their material. So that's where consulting almost becomes coaching in a way. But that some of the most rewarding work that you can possibly do. Creative skills, script writing, storyboarding, visual storytelling. I would add mind mapping. I guess that's a dash there, right? Mind mapping. Or maybe, will it let me get away with... No, it looks weird. Here, I might not add it here, but I want to at some point put mastermind groups, because I think as a producer, having a mastermind group with other producers is, it doesn't get much better than that. Like, your learning has to continue and continue, right? Accessibility, compliance, and audits. Here we go. This is something that the AI would never think of. Section 508 audits, which is basically accessibility compliance, but the Section 508 thing might draw some attention, some much needed and wanted attention in a good way. It's like a child trying to get their parents' attention, you know, that good type of attention. All right, so this is looking good. But you see, guys, the process is very simple. You have to spend half an hour, whatever it takes, just refining it, massaging it, making sure that whatever AI generated for you is not complete junk. Like, it should be taking what you would have written anyway and just elevating it slightly. That's all we're trying to do here. And putting it all together for you more rapidly and saving you time. The time saved, part of that needs to be used in scrutinizing it and refining it. That's a very important part, and I would say the only way to properly work with AI in this modern age is with that eye for criticism, with a healthy dose of criticism. Professional experience, founder and multimedia producer. All right, so now we're getting into my experience. Yeah, I mean, looks good. Dates look good. As soon as I see M dashes, I'm like, oh, that's AI. Somebody used ChatGPT to write that. It's kind of a turn off for me. But here, this is actually tying together. Earlier, there was a mention of, yeah, right here, 200 plus high quality assets. Produce 200 plus multimedia assets, including training videos, voiceovers, animations, and interactive content. Now, because here's a design formatting sort of layout tip for you. If this word was not here and it was just interactive for some reason, like down here with revisions, that bugs me, because that's what we call an orphan word, and it just looks bad. You want to have at least 2 words down there, and preferably if you're going to have a second line, then use it, right? Just like we did up here. We added a couple more things. It filled it out nicely. It looks good. Looks balanced. For me, my eye, I don't like it. I like it to be nice and full and have value. If they want to read on, they can. They don't have to. But here, if they wanted to, they can't because it's just empty space. Do you know what I mean? So here I'd like to add some stuff. So produce 200 plus multimedia. If I can't think of anything, I don't want to overstress and just like crack my head open trying to figure out something. So I'll just be like, where'd my friend go here? Let's bring him over here. Please add a few more words to this line that he'll understand. And maybe it's a she, I don't know. Claudette. So, yeah, he even gave me some options. Look at that. Audio focus, e-learning specific. Broader scope's probably what we want. And sometimes it'll make a suggestion, but I'll often ask it, what's your suggestion? Creative depth, broad appeal differentiates you. Let's see. So it made a suggestion. I evaluated it. I disagree. So I'm moving on to the next one. Broader scope. Produce 200 plus, including screencasts. I like that. Podcasts. Webcasts is a better word, actually. Podcasts and web. How would you say that? Web/podcasts? Maybe forget webcast. Nobody really does those anymore or uses that term. I don't know about simulation. So let's see what we can do here with that. First of all, I'm going to add podcast. And there's no mention also of my YouTube here. So social media, and I can really fill in the line here. Social media assets. Or maybe just social media, and then I have even more space. So I can put YouTube, Facebook. Now, I also noticed here that this line's getting a little long and funky. So what I might do, again, in an effort not to overthink this kind of stuff, I'm going to have Claude refine this for me. I'm going to go with this, please refine. And you can be somewhat vague with it, and it should understand. That's getting too long and cluttered. See, it's making a suggestion now that I might have to actually listen here. Although I like this second one. It seems to be full. Social media content is also good. Podcasts and social media content. Yeah, this is good. Now what's the difference up here? I think A and C are actually the same. Yeah, I'm not seeing a difference. See, I made a mistake. Let's go with that. That feels right. Feels nice and balanced. Alright. Delivered professional audio narration for corporate training, explainer videos, e-learning modules. Again, this is lacking. Let's go back to Claude again. You know what? I just saw the other one too. And then maybe we can combine some of these. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I like the first one, but these next four, because, yeah, this is 3 pages long, and I don't like my resume to be more than 2 pages. Like 1 page, you can't really get away with that anymore. I can't. I don't feel right about it. 2 pages feels okay. 1.5 pages is like ideal. But yeah, this is 3 pages, so we're going to have to make some changes here. So I'm going to tell it, let's cut this down to maybe 4 bullets. Let's reduce this down to 4 bullets and combine some of them together if we can. Oh yeah, sorry, 3 is what we want, 4 total. Okay, so there's 5. And we want to shrink it down by 1, so it's going to do that for us here. That doesn't look long enough. Aggressively combining. Delivered professional audio narration and managed full production lifecycle from concept through delivery. No, I don't like that. Audio narration and production lifecycle have nothing to do with each other. And client retention, no, that seems very scattered. When you don't like what it does, you can also go like this. Turn this into 3 bullets, but add the removed line as the extra words. Add to each one if you have to. I don't know what it's going to do with this. to create a cohesive 3 bullets. Full bullets. Delivered professional audio narration for corporate training, explainer videos, so those two things match, and e-learning modules, yes, with exceptional quality and collaborative creative process. Managed full production lifecycle from creative concept through final delivery and revisions, achieving 90% client retention through consistent excellence. Maintain comprehensive media library and asset management system, enabling efficient project delivery and streamlined workflow optimization. And look at that. Sometimes you score a win. That was a win right there, because it's the perfect length. Look at that. Now this looks a little empty now. See what I mean? This down here can stay like that, I think. I don't like the one bullet on a separate page, though, to be honest. I almost might try to combine some of these core competencies together to push this up, but we'll see. This needs another couple of lines, though. Couple of words. 3 to 4 words. Please add 3 or 4 words to this that add value. This is a very general statement. Let's see what it does. Emphasis quality, emphasis output, emphasis outcome, emphasis diversity. I like that diverse word in there because it's really what it is. It ranges across so many different projects and clients. I like high quality, though. That's never a bad thing to call out. Maybe can we word it so it says so many services and areas, including the following, but not limited. Sounds like legalese now to these. Okay, so the across diverse formats. I kind of like that one. Let's go with that. Making good progress here. This is excellent. I like the look of that a lot. The one bullet on the next page is not a huge deal, but let's see. It might throw the whole thing off. An orphan word on each line. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about human psychology, but if you send this off and a human sees it, maybe the AI won't care. Like the ATS system might not care. It's just they're just words on a page. But if a human sees this, there's something revolting about it. It's just a waste of space. It's like all this empty space for nothing. Like it doesn't help the eye to navigate. You know, you could make the argument here that this might be too full, but I'd rather have too much information than not enough. Again, if the recruiter wants to have more information, they can. They don't have to read all this, but if they want to, they can. The sections below are causing orphan words to appear on the second line of the bullets. So we will need to either extend those lines or reduce them to 1. My preference is for the latter. I'll paste this down here. It'll understand what to do. Let's try that. See, it understood. Okay. I still see some here, but it doesn't necessarily mean because they're showing up in Claude that they're going to show up in the word processor. Some of these things I don't know if I like that it removed, like some valuable words here that I would prefer that it didn't remove, like reusable. I think when it comes to like multimedia and like reusing recordings, for example, that's a huge keyword to maybe consider keeping in. So let me just see. And so we did, let's see, we did MGP, so now we're going to do RCC. Control Shift V. Perfect. So that one I'm going to keep. 4 nice bullets, one after the other. Fantastic. Now it makes Maple Grove pale in comparison. However, what is this again? Multimedia producer roles that we're applying for. So it makes perfect sense to have nice full bullets up here, which makes a case for maybe even keeping this lone bullet the way it is, even if it throws things off a bit. And this would be more slim because it doesn't apply. Course creation doesn't apply as much to multimedia production work. So far, I love what it did here, and I agree with it 100%. Let me actually read, though, to make sure. So, design and produced multimedia learning content reaching 500 plus learners. One could draw the conclusion that these two projects may be related, even though the numbers are different. Q1, I guess that would be accurate, actually. Reduced production timelines by 50%. Yeah, it helped me to want to brag because I don't usually would put those kind of stats, but I understand now that it's important. It's another one of those things that draws the eyes, right? Created video tutorials, maybe even like streaming or training. I did a lot of training, that's for sure. I'm just going to leave it the way that it is. I'm not a big fan of screencast, but I understand what it's trying to say. It is kind of one of those industry buzzwords, so I'm going to keep it. Interactive elements for web learning platforms. Yeah. Consulted with clients on visual storytelling and media strategies for learning impact. There's a couple of them that need to be shorter, and sometimes just to save time, I'll go through it myself and see if I can reduce it down. Led multimedia production initiatives creating audio-video content for thousands of learners. Developed 50 plus interactive courses of narration, screen recordings, and motion graphics. This one I'd like to build out, actually. Do we need more room? We do. So we're going to have to make some executive decisions here to cut these down. I think that's what it's leaning towards. So I'm actually going to take the opposite approach of what I was just about to do, and I'm going to tell it, please reduce these each down by 3 to 4 words, but try to keep the ideas intact. See, I was afraid of that. Let's see if we can fix it. Developed 50 plus interactive courses with narration, screen recordings, and motion graphics. It really likes that motion graphics thing. Let's just say graphics. And that saved us 2 lines right there. So between these two, we've saved quite a lot of space. Alright, I love that it's mentioning the SMEs here. I like the ROI mention. These are key metrics. QA protocols, sure. 50 plus interactive courses, narration, recording, graphics. Alright. Standards, protocols. Yeah. I like the way this is written. It is coming off a little vague in some spots. Like, I'd like to be more specific with projects, but that's more on my portfolio anyway, and I do mention that here at the bottom, so I think we're okay there. And here I'd like to actually do the same thing. Claude, baby, please remove 1 word, because they're only over by 1, for each bullet without changing too much. And we'll just go real slow on this one. That's probably not enough for most of them. Okay, so 2 of them still need to be reduced. Let's see if we can do it manually. Maintain 100% WCAG accessibility compliance across all video, audio, video. We could put AV here, AV content. And delivered professional voiceover narration for 100 plus training modules and communications. I don't know what that means. Explainer videos again. That is true. Training modules and explainer videos, projects, courses. That's the most accurate one. Training modules and courses, pretty similar though. Explainer videos. Let's try. Nope. Not going to work. Can I fix it? Delivered professional voiceover narration for 100 plus training modules and explainer videos. It's all coming together. Now, the only thing is, I like to space this out here at the bottom a little bit more, like I did at the top with these, and just give a little bit more breathing room, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Oh no. Hey, that's cool. Put the production reel there. I love that, because it was produced and edited by me. So I did both the multimedia and the VEM stuff. So that's great. It's a whole 2.5 hour webinar too, so it's a perfect portfolio item. Because if we fix this, we could probably it'll push the whole thing up. Or I could reduce this down to 4. Or does that say 6? 6 lines. Oh, good gravy. I could definitely reduce a line there. I think that's what I'll do, because I don't want to reduce that down. Let's see if 6 bullets. Let's reduce this down to 5 bullets, but keep as much intact as possible. That made it much worse. What happened? Oh, the orphan words. Yeah, of course. Each line needs to be no more than 2 words less. I hope it understood what I was trying to say there. I'm reviewing it thoroughly afterwards, so I'm not too worried about it. Come on. No. They either need to be longer or shorter, and it's going to be shorter. Still way too long, but don't remove too much at once. Okay, those are definitely going to be good. Oh, it feels really short now. That one's too long still. Alright, let me just review here, because I might be able to do this manually. You can do certain well-known abbreviations. There's nothing wrong with that. AV content here. Boom, done. Developed 50% interactive courses with narration, screen recordings, and there's that motion graphics again. Graphics. And we're done. Established production standards and QA protocols. Pioneered video streaming, multimedia integration for enhanced learning. Collaborated with SMEs to transform technical content into engaging visuals. Sure. Collaborated with SMEs to transform technical content into engaging learning experiences. I can put partnered with SMEs to transform technical content into engaging learning experiences. Phew. All right. Produce 200 plus professional multimedia assets with 90 plus client satisfaction. Reduced production timelines by 50% through workflow optimizations and templates. Maintained 100% AAA accessibility compliance across all AV content. Led multimedia initiatives, contributing millions in revenue over a 12-year tenure. Delivered professional voiceover for 100 plus training modules and explainer videos. That's all we needed to do. That bullet's not a big deal. I'm going to leave it. So now that we've done this, and that was quite the process, right? But consider this, and I'll just make a quick point. We're going to wrap it up here because this is going on longer than I thought it would. But there's a lot to it. Think about how long this would have taken you to do without AI. Would we be here for 2 hours, 3 hours? I've been working on this now and making a video for just over an hour. And I've got a whole resume done, a tailored industry-specific resume. And with this, it'll inform the cover letter, which is coming next. So think about the time savings, right? Just that alone is enough to warrant the use case. This is all fitting on one page, which is fantastic. I'm so happy with that. The last round of the edits and revisions, I find it really catches those last few things that you may not have seen yourself or you overlooked, like doubling up on words or little typos. So definitely go through these. Like if you're going to get all the way to the end, bring it as close to 100% like perfection as possible. You're never going to get to 100%, but let's get as close to 99 as we can. No sense of putting in all this work and then leaving it at like 70 or 80% as good as it could be. But basically, here's the final product. I'm refining it. Let's bring it back up to speed on what's been done. All the orphan words are removed. All of the empty spaces, like we're really using as much of each bullet, each section. Everything's nicely formatted. It looks fantastic. I went through all of the different suggestions that Claude made. I took some of them on board. I did drop a couple of them, but overall they were really good catches. There were some things that I hadn't even considered. And the final consideration here, the final item up for consideration is this production reel. And while he has a good point here that production reel demonstrates the multimedia production, then great, keep this one here, because it was more of a virtual event management. I was producing as a webinar producer, and I did do some post-production, but not that much. So it doesn't really demonstrate my skills. And as I'm saying this out loud, I think this warrants actually changing this one. The other resume has that, and it makes more sense under virtual event management. I am going to find another link to put here. So this is a public-facing video I made for the Maryland State Board of Elections, and it does a pretty darn good job of demonstrating multimedia production, I would say. It also includes voice acting. I did voiceover for it. I did motion graphics, animations, Camtasia. So I think this one will work best. Yeah, why not? Let's put that one in there. It's an explainer video. We don't really have any examples of that anyway, so it'll work nicely, I think. Alright, so I'm happy with that. Production reel. Decided to use this explainer video I made as a production example, but it's not really a reel. It is showing a public-facing video for a state public sector client. Would I be better to use this or my demo reel on YouTube? And how would I word it? Use explainer video. Okay. Production sample, client work sample, explainer video sample, production sample. Okay. Sounds good to me. Alright, so I think that is our final touch here. So the next thing is actually having Claude take a quick look at it. Alright, one last review, and I'm calling it good. MPS, almost perfect, just one grammatical error. Supported, worked, supported with SMEs. Oh, good catch. Didn't even see that. This is why we do this. I'm going to keep supported. I just need to remove the with, I think. Supported SMEs to transform technical content into engaging learning experiences. Alright, so download PDF. You can always come back to Google Docs to edit it further. I don't download Word docs or anything. Then, while he's working on that, I'm going to bring that file into the folder, rename it. Sometimes you can even put the name of the client that you're applying to or the company that you're applying to in the file name to show that it's like a customized for them. I think that might go the extra mile if you want to do that. Let's go and now create our cover letter, and you'll see how fast this part goes at least. So first of all, I don't know why he puts this at the top. For electronic communication, this is rarely ever done except for like legal stuff, what I've seen. That fits all on one page, perfect. We'll look at those notes here in a second, but I just want to go through. So it's got the square brackets, it's got everything speaking to multimedia, e-learning, corporates. Couple of orphans here though that are kind of popping off the page. Yeah. I'm going to try to fix these manually. Reduce production timelines by 50% through optimized workflows and reusable asset libraries. Yeah, that makes sense. Might have to build that one out. Maintain 100% accessibility compliance across all audio video deliverables. This can be abbreviated. This can be built out. Build this out a bit for me to make it a full bullet. I like capacity. Scalable is a good word. Impact, methodology, team, client, benefit. I'm going to go with scalable. Yeah, that's what he suggests as well, so we're on the same page for that one. Perfect. Looks great. What else? Or something else. This one. So this guy here, I'm actually going to try to just remove 1 or 2 words. I'm not going to run it through the AI. Beyond technical proficiency, I approach every project with a collaborative mindset. I work closely with stakeholders and subject matter experts to understand their vision, transform complex technical into engaging visual narratives, and deliver work that's both beautiful and functional. I like that. I'm going to check. Let's see. Is this line really needed? No, it's not needed. We did mention it? Alright. Well, then that solves that, and I think we're done. That fixes the orphan word at least. It does balance things out on the page a little bit more. Maybe I'll just fill in this paragraph just a little bit. Am I driving you nuts yet? This is what it is to have an attention to detail, guys, and this is why I wanted to make this video full length, because I want you to see what's required to really make a good impression on people these days. I was doing this stuff back in the day, but now it's like, it's not just a bonus, it's required. Like, otherwise you're going to be applying for like hundreds, if not thousands of jobs before you finally get one. It's just the number of people alone. The competition is just insane. Let's build this one out a little bit and call it good by adding value or trust. Client focus, reliability, partnership. It's all about thinking about those keywords, right? On budget, yeah, that's functional, on time, and on budget. Well, exceeding expectations. I'm going to try this one just because I like that one best myself. Let me see. Not bad. Both beautiful and functional. Beautiful, functional, on time, and on budget. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. One last pass. Last look. Almost perfect, just one small grammatical error. Deliver work that's both beautiful, functional, on time, and on budget. Yeah, well, structure it in a way that doesn't involve 4 in a row or M dashes. I just don't like them. They're fine in a book, but like, it's just so overused now. Option 1. Beautiful and functional while meeting deadlines and budgets. Beautiful. That's looking good. Now, as I mentioned, it's going to get filled in here, and I'm going to have to adjust this cover letter for real when I'm applying for a job and not just making a template here. But this looks very good and very promising. I love how it's calling out like George Brown College and explainer videos, and putting my video that I put in there as an explainer video of what we can do. So I'm pretty happy with it. So now it's saying here, replace bracketed sections. We know that. Paragraph 2, research the company. It's all a lot of the same things as last time. And then keep it to one page. Absolutely. Save each version with the company name for your records. If I go back to my folder here, I'm actually going to use this as a sort of template, and the one that I will send is going to have, like, let's say, you know, like whatever. I would put like McDonald's and then Matt Leger resume. So it's almost like you're almost signaling that you're willing to put them ahead of you in a way. All right, let's call this one good as well, because I like the cut of its jib, and I think it'll work. I even like how there's a dash in here that's not an M dash. Imagine that. So this same idea, my name, although this is a template, so I'm going to put that. Oh, I don't put the name in the template. Cover letter template. This is MPS, and that's the final document. Thank goodness for that. This cover letter, I'm going to pop into the folder. Boom. Okay, so that's done. Now, that one took the longest for some reason. I'm not sure why, but let's say, I'm just going to do some quick math here. So, an hour and a half each, on average, to make a fully customized template, and don't forget, the template is going to be repurposed in any number of different ways. It's going to save us time for actually writing our actual cover letter, right? We're only doing the template once. Just like the resume, we can repurpose that now. So that's only a one-time thing. But on average, if you have to do this, you can expect to spend at least an hour and a half per pair of cover letter and resume that are industry specific, right? Not generic, not completely tailored to the job that you're applying for. You're going to have to do that on your own if that's what you're going for. But it's closer to being tailored than it is generic, and that's what we want. And then we can inch closer to that depending on how much we want that job, or how much time or energy we want to give to it, what the results is we're getting. If you're getting results with this, then stop there. Why would you go any further? You could, and that might help you get a better job down the road, but then you're probably going to have to redo your resume at that point. Sometimes good is good enough, right? We don't have to be perfect. Like I was saying earlier, we want to strive for that perfection, but knowing full well that we'll never get there. That's not to say that we shouldn't try. Now I can safely say I have put as much energy and time as I can possibly stand and muster at this point into this job search venture. I'm really happy with the resumes I made. I've got now a generic resume, I've got an LMS specific resume, I've got an MPS specific resume, and I've got cover letters now that can be customized to the specific roles that I'm applying for. So if I just finish the video here now, back where we started on this screen, now you can see that I'm fully prepared. I've got everything I need to apply to all of these companies, not just one category or two, all of them, and all of these roles and positions, no matter what pops up. And now that I'm thinking about it, I could have job search alerts in various platforms that would flag my email or send me an email whenever any of these positions pop up. AI can probably help with this. You could probably have an agent that would email you and let you know anytime any of these keywords pop up in a job posting somewhere. Like on LinkedIn, let's say. One pops up, it sends you an email. It's for an education program manager. Or maybe it's some weird combination like education product trainer or curriculum specialist, right? But just having those keywords in there will alert the agent to send you an email. So you could get really technical with it, but I think that needs to depend mostly on what kind of results you're getting. Because like I said, if you're getting good results, then you're fine. You don't need to get more granular than that. You don't need to refine your process more than that. It's good enough. If you're not getting results, this could be the differentiator that you've been looking for. This could be what sets you apart. I remember when I worked for eSkills, the vice president would often say, "You're my gem in the rough," because I would bring so much to the table that she knew if she needed to count on me for something that fell in her lap and she didn't know what to do with it, she knew that most of the time she could approach me. It could be a creative project, it could be something project management related, it could be something event management related. I'm diverse and adaptable enough in my skill set that I can really pivot to whatever needs to be done. And that's a major strength. That's something that I tend to demonstrate more in the interview process than in a resume, because it's kind of hard to express that, articulate that in words on paper in a 2D scenario. But in talking to someone face to face or on the camera, it'd be easy to convey. With me, you're not just getting another producer, a multimedia producer, an event manager, content developer. You're getting the whole kit and caboodle. You're getting the whole gamut of what I can bring, which is a lot. And that's where you need to search within and find that worth, that value in yourself, because at some point you're going to have to answer the question of how much are you looking for? And if you haven't established that internal, dare I say, spiritual value and worth and other forms of capital other than financial, you won't know how to negotiate a fair price for yourself. You have to know what you're worth outside of financial capital with other forms to know what you're worth inside financial capital. It's kind of like the law. You have to know who you are outside of the legal system to know who you are inside it. That's a whole other conversation, but you kind of get where I'm going with that. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was filled to the brim with knowledge and information and value, and that actually did help you. It helped me to go through it all and to externalize it and to talk about it. And I'm going to try to edit it down to be as short and palatable as possible. But thanks for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any suggestions, if you'd like to share your own path, your own feedback, I'd love to hear it. We'd all love to read it. Please do share. And thanks again for watching. I really appreciate your viewership and your companionship as we both travel down this path of finding some sort of self-sufficiency for ourselves, for lack of better words. I'm off to bed. See you.